Hi, Joe. I have a question for you, my friend.
Yeah,
I know you're involved in real estate investing in a number of different ways. You wholesale lease options. That's kind of your claim to fame more than anything, I would say, and you're very active in that arena. You also quick turn leases, which is a whole discussion in and of itself, and you do some traditional wholesaling, just straight up A to B, B to C wholesaling. What in the current market are the most favoritist ways of yours to get deals? Where are you getting your biggest bang for your buck in terms of time, effort, money invested that's bringing you the most deals right now?
great question. Well, I always say we're not in the real estate business. We are in the marketing business. Okay, and I'd take it a step further. We're in the sales and marketing business because leads are the lifeblood of your business. If you don't have leads coming in, you're going to die, and your business is going to die. So I understood early on that this business is all about marketing. It's a numbers game, and I need to be a master of marketing, and I need to be a master of getting the leads in, or else I'm not going to make any money. And I also realized early on that if I didn't get somebody else to do the marketing for me, then it just wasn't going to get done. So I developed systems to have VAs do my marketing for me. And I like to say the four keys to success are marketing, automation, delegation, and then sales, learning how to talk to sellers. So I say that because I do a bunch of different deals. The most important thing is I do a lot of marketing. I send out postcards. I do Craigslist marketing, which means I send text messages and voice messages and emails to Craigslist Ads. And I also send postcards to absentee owners. I do some internet marketing, take driving traffic to squeeze pages and stuff. So I am constantly on the lookout for motivated sellers. And whenever a motivated seller calls me, my attitude or my approach to them is, hey, I want to buy your house. I'm not trying to sell a program. I want to buy their house. I'm a buyer. So I'm not selling anything to these sellers. And so I first ask them questions on how, I ask them the questions of what's their situation? Why do they want to sell or lease their house? And I try to find what might be a good fit for them. So they may say, I want to sell my house. And I say, great, what do you want to sell it for? And I get a price out of them. If they need too much for it, well, then I say I probably can't buy it, but maybe I could lease purchase it. Would you be willing to lease your house for a few years and then sell it on down the road? So when I'm doing a lot of marketing, I'd say 75% of the leads that come in from my postcards, for instance, they either don't have enough equity, or if they do, they're not willing to share any of it with me. Or maybe it's in an area where it's not a great area. So I will typically do a lease purchase on those, especially if there's not enough equity, or if they want too much, or even if it's upside down. For instance, if it's upside down in Florida, which there's a ton of homes out there still upside down, even though prices are coming back, there's going to be homes that are upside down for at least another 5 to 10 years. That's how big the fall was, right? So lease purchasing is great for those. How can you lease purchase an upside down house? Well, you just set it up on a longer term basis, maybe 10 to 15 years. Well, it's a long answer to a short question. I do all kinds of different deals depending on the seller's situation and how I feel like I can best help them. I think the easiest deals for me are wholesaling lease options. Again, because there's so many sellers out there who can't sell their house, and there's so many buyers who can't buy. So it's easy to find those sellers who can't sell their house.
Okay, let me focus you or redirect your focus just a little bit, though. I want to reframe the question more from the perspective of back to the marketing that you're deploying on a regular basis. What are the most effective, even if you had to rank them, of all the things that you're doing, the things that are bringing you the most deals, regardless of the type of deal? You mentioned postcards as kind of a key, core, foundational part of what you're doing, and I'm curious, if you survey the landscape of what you're doing to bring in leads, if you were to rank and say, here's the top 3 that I couldn't do without, what would they be?
Well, number one would be Craigslist, sending text messages, voice messages, and emails to Craigslist ads. Number two would be postcards to absentee owners. Now, I used to only target absentee owners that had equity. Well, I found out everybody and their grandmother's mailing to them. So now I actually only email to absentee owners who bought their houses between the years of 2005 to 2009, 2010 maybe. So I'm looking for those absentee owners who don't have much equity but are motivated to sell. Nobody else is mailing to them. So that's why I say most of the deals that I get in are from motivated sellers who don't have any equity. And so most of my deals are wholesaling lease option deals. And those are also the easiest to negotiate. I can do that over the phone. I can do that virtually while I'm living in Prague in the Czech Republic, because all it is, it's an option. And I send it to the seller online. The seller emails me pictures. I have my local realtor advertise and market the house. So I can do wholesaling lease option deals a lot more virtually. So number one would be the Craigslist stuff. Number two would be postcards to absentee owners. And number three is Facebook advertising for sellers. And believe it or not, there's a couple dating websites that we've just recently started testing where we are doing ads for buyers and sellers, driving them to a squeeze page from these different dating websites. One of them is Plenty of Fish, and another one I think is called outthere.com or ourtime.com. I forget what it's called.
What? You're blowing my mind here. You're getting serious leads for people who want to sell their houses by advertising on dating websites?
Yeah, it's ourtime.com and plentyoffish.com.
What in the world made you decide to even try that?
Well, I've always been a student of marketing, right? And you hear these rumors of people doing marketing on different sites. I mean, Plenty of Fish, you got to look at, I don't know how much traffic they get, but it's a ton. It's a free dating service. It's a free dating website. The same with ourtime.com. These guys, how they make their money is through banner advertising, okay? Advertising on their websites. And, millions of people go to their site every day. Well, you can place ads, little ads on these properties saying, we put a lot of ads out there for tenant buyers, for people looking for a house to lease purchase, right? We had to shut our campaign down a week ago. I was just talking to my lead VA about this. We had to shut it down because we got too many leads. We got 800 leads in a couple days advertising in a big market. And totally blew me away. And I don't remember the exact numbers of what we spent, but it worked out to be about 25 to 50 cents a lead. And you compare that to Google. If you were to do advertising on Google and their pay-per-click AdWords stuff, generally you're looking at $2 to $3 a click because it's very competitive. And I don't understand how they determine their pricing, but there's other sites out there. Facebook's a good one. Ourtime.com, plentyoffish.com, Yahoo, Bing, where you can get advertising for a lot cheaper. And the really cool thing about these dating websites, they don't care at all what kind of website you're driving them to. It can be a squeeze page, because Google a lot of times will not let you do an ad. Same with Facebook. If it seems like if it's a squeeze page or if it's a website where they don't have a lot of information to give to the person that's visiting the site. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
no, it makes total sense. Google they limit the types of pages that you're allowed to drive traffic to, and these websites don't.
Exactly, they don't care at all. And so I'm not kidding. It's been just the last week or two that we started testing this, and we had to shut our campaigns down because we were getting too many leads.
Okay, now what can you tell me about the quality of the leads? Because that is a very broad marketplace, a broad demographic. The only thing these people have in common is that they're either looking for a date or looking to hook up or something along those lines. And so you're kind of tossing this lure out there in a huge ocean with all types of different fish and looking for one type of fish, and just kind of assuming that some healthy percentage of people in this dating website pool are probably motivated to want to sell their house and will respond to an ad that's designed to attract that type of person. But the type of lead, all leads that come in are not created equal. I know that. Leads from Facebook aren't the same as leads from Google. I know that as a marketer. So what can you tell me about the quality of the leads from these dating websites?
Well, just like with anything else, you're going to have to filter through the good and take out the bad. Same with postcards. You send out a lot of postcards, you're going to get a lot of junk calls from sellers who aren't motivated. Generally speaking, with postcards, I find that I have to talk to 20 to 25 sellers to get a good deal. It's just a numbers game. What's interesting, though, is I told you before, I think I said it works out to be about 25 to 50 cents per lead. That's not 25 to 50 cents per click, by the way. Google, you have to pay per click, and it gets pretty expensive. With these dating websites, I'm not kidding, you pay like sometimes 1 or 2 cents a click. And it's just ridiculously cheap. So right now on Plenty of Fish, there's 468,000 people online right now at this website all over the world. So Plenty of Fish allows you to go in and specify, hey, I only want to place this ad for people that are between the ages of 35 and 65 that live in St. Louis, Missouri. And you could even go in further based on their interests. We've only done it to ages. The only restrictions we give it are ages and geographical location.
So you can select the geographically where these people are coming from based on the target market that you're selecting.
Yes.
And that's the only criteria. So if you're trying to buy deals in St. Louis, Missouri, you're crafting an ad, putting it on this website and saying, only show this banner ad to people whose IP address says that they are in St. Louis and they have said in their profile that they're between this age and this age.
Yeah.
Wow. That is really something.
You know, want to hear something else really cool? I've not done this, but I was in San Diego a few weeks ago, and I heard of this guy that's doing this I won't tell you which market. But usually when people are looking for a job, they are pretty motivated, possibly, right? What this guy does is he created a squeeze page, and he puts some ads into Google for employment. When somebody is looking for a job, they're pretty motivated. They might have a house they want to sell. So what this guy did is he created what looked like a jobs website. And if you go to monster.com or hotjobs.com, whatever they are now, usually those websites will ask for an email address or ask for some information up front. Well, what this guy did is he created this fake website that looks like it's a job, like people are looking for a job. Anyway, he gets their email address, and then he just redirects them to monsters.com or some other jobs website. Okay. Then what he does with those emails that he gets is he puts them into an autoresponder sequence, and he sends them emails related to job finding, job hunting, giving them tips on job hunting and job advice. But he also on every email says, hey, if you have a house you want to sell, give me a call. And he's doing really, really well with that. Now, that's maybe a little tricky. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable doing that. But there are tons of creative things you could do online to capture leads from sellers that might be interested in selling their house. And a lot of times if somebody's unemployed, they may have a house they want to sell. And if you can find those people, you can actually put your messages in front of them saying, hey, if you have a house you want to sell, I'm an investor and I'd like to make an offer on your house. Does that make sense?
My goodness, yes, it does. That is such a cool outside-of-the-box trick. And, man, that's just awesome.
Well, I am in the middle of trying to get my mind wrapped around this, too. And my marketing partner, he's just blowing it up. He's doing this in another market right now. And we have some pretty good squeeze pages set up, and we're getting a lot of good leads. Now, I don't know if I answered your question, but you're going to have to go through a lot of these leads. sometimes these leads are going to be in areas where I'm not interested in buying. They may be just not something that I'm interested in. But that's the way it is with any marketing. You're going to get junk leads and you're going to get good leads. And the more strategies that you have in your back pocket where you can help sellers who have equity regardless, you can help sellers whether they have equity or not. So if they have equity, you go the traditional wholesaling route. If they don't have equity, then you go the wholesaling lease options route. That is what I get all excited about. Just get the leads. Become a master of marketing.
Well, and just as a side note to all this, you give the disclaimer that you're going to have to go through a lot of leads to get your deals. That's absolutely true, and that may that may feel like an intimidating, daunting thing for a lot of people, especially if they're time strapped and they have full-time jobs. But one of the beautiful things about the way you have set this up is you have set up a situation where you have a $3 to $4 an hour virtual assistant doing all the heavy lifting of mining through those leads so that you're really only dealing with the pre-qualified, most qualified leads once they get to you.